Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we are doing another Amonkhet Intermediate Swiss Draft League. Pretty clear rare pick here. Archfiend of Ifnir is a great card. 5 mana, 5/4 flyer. Relevant ability, cycles itself in emergency situations. I think most of the time you do not want to cycle the Archfiend, but if you're going to lose the game and you have it in your hand, another chance to draw and out, right? Let's see. There's Electrify in here as well. Vizier is quite good. This card is growing on me quite a bit. I do really like this. The cartouches are highly played in this format. I love that this gets rid of them. Kills all the embalm creatures as well. It's just good. It's good in the format. It's a sensible card. Let's take the Archfiend, of course, though. Okay. Strongest card in this pack. You know, honestly, this pack is quite weak. This pack is quite weak. Like, there's a Mummy, which sort of works with the -1/-1 counter theme deck. Black-green. Because you play something, you put -1/-1 counters on it, and then your guy stays big, and you may be able to kill something. It's a very unexciting follow-up pick. Very, very unexciting. This pack is very unexciting, though. There's Cartouche of Zeal, which is good if you're playing Hyper Aggro, which this format tends to reward. A second pick Mummy does seem very, very bad. There's Winds of Rebuke, which might just be the pick. Kills Embalm, feeds Embalm. There's Soulscar Mage too, but I'm not super excited about that. That was an unexciting pack. All right, final reward is at least a good pickup here. Removal, it's on color with our rare that we would very much like to play if possible. There's also a compulsory rest in here. And not much else. Ronus's Monument, probably most people's favorite monument. I'm personally not a big fan of any of the monuments anymore. I'll play them, I guess, but I don't know. They ended up worse than I thought they would be, but they're still playable, so I'll say that. Okay. Ooh, Lake Claim. Well, that's a fun one. There's also a Shimmer Scale Drake in here. Hooded Brawler is quite good. I think we take the Lake Claim. This card's strong. Works well with our Archfiend, too. I'll steal a thing, or I'll make all your things be neg1. Seems good. Probably the best card in here. I love Hooded Brawler, though. Card's great. And I love Shimmer Scale Drake, too, but we're taking that Lake Claim. Yeah, I was a little bit down on... Well, that's funny. I was down on this card in the beginning of the format. And then there were a couple commenters who were like, you're not giving this card enough... I mean, you steal anything with this, which is good. The problem is this format is so fast that oftentimes 7 mana to steal your 3-drop that's been killing you isn't something that gets to happen all that often. So then what are you playing? You're just playing a blue card that cycles for 2, which also isn't that fantastic. So pros and cons. Pros and cons. So there's a 5th pick Electrify. There's also a 5th pick Cartouche. I almost like Cartouche more than Electrify. Buff. Synergizes with the Trial set in this format. Gives Trample. Pretty good. There is an Essence Scatter. No black cards, by the way. Just a little bit scary. The 2 we have are quite good. So I could take Essence Scatter. It's a pretty good card. I actually really like it alongside Bounce, Instant Speed Removal, Cycle. It's good alongside all of those. Keeps you busy. Gives you options. But it's still early enough where I think I'm just going to take the Cartouche over the Electrify here. Okay, so now we have Initiate. And Slitherblade, I guess. Stinging Shot. We'll take the Initiate. All right. Shadowstorm Vizier. Paralysis, Honed Kopesh, Ornery Kudu. Guess we'll take the Vizier. So there's some green cards in here that are pretty good. There's a Javelineer as well. Guess we'll take the Quarry Hauler. This card's good. Let's sort by color. I guess we're sort of got to figure out what we're going to do here. We're still tooling around, figuring it out. So Slitherblade, I just don't really like this card all that much. Guess we could take the Spidery Grasp. There's a Painted Bluffs as well, which might just let us splash a little bit easier. I probably don't need a Spidery Grasp. I think it's playable, but not necessary. I'll take the Painted Bluffs. I don't think this card's all that good. I can probably find it later, but I don't really care about these cards that I'm giving up. Desert Ceradon. Alright, Skirmisher is certainly playable. We'll take it. I like that it kind of trades early and then comes back and maybe does something. Alright, we'll take the Cancel now. Over the Cradle of the Curse. So, yeah, we're supposed to be in blue, it seems like. Getting late green, though. Might have to abandon black, which doesn't make me super happy. I'm going to take the Cheetah over the Spider. Spider, for some reason, has just sort of unimpressed me a little bit in this format. Alright, take the Sentinel. Take the blue card. So, if we can get black out of pack 2 here, I would still prefer to play black over green just because the 2 black cards, I guess the 3 black cards we have, are substantially stronger than the 3 green cards we have. But it depends on... It definitely felt like we were getting... Well, and then we open Plague Belcher. Yeah, I got to take the Plague Belcher here. This card's awesome. Even without a zombie theme, this card's good. It's a powerful rare. So I take it over a Final Reward. Maybe we wheel the Naga Oracle or the Hieroglyphic Illumination. I'm fine with that. I mean, this is definitely a reason to be in black alongside Archfiend as well. It's just too good. Just beats down so efficiently. This is great with like Doomed Dissenter as well. Play that on turn 2, this on turn 3, kill it, get a 2/2 zombie that punishes him when that dies. Plus you have a 5/4 menace on turn 3. This card just puts people away. So it works well with Festering Mummy as well. There's a Bone Picker in here though, which is really good. This card is not so good, so we can take the Bone Picker. Maybe wheel the Festering Mummy if we're lucky. So here we can take Horror of the Broken Lands or Seeker of Insight. Seeker has good synergy with Archfiend. What are the spells that we can trigger it with? We have 1, 2, 3. Suppose we could play Compelling Argument. I've seen it used in the cycling deck as just like a tool, a means to an end. So we could do that, or we could just take the Horror, which also synergizes with Archfiend and gives us another win con potentially. I like Horror of the Broken Lands. I think it might actually just be stronger than Seeker. But I do like that you can not only loot, but trigger cycle effects with it. I'm trying to decide if I like continuous use with cost versus win con with one time. I think we'll try the Seeker out. I don't know if that's right, but I've had some good success with Seeker and cycle effects. Okay, wow. This is a good pack. We'll take another Final Reward. It is expensive, admittedly, but let's just cut green. I think at this point I'm willing to we're full on committing. As kind of expected, black seems to be open from this direction. I think we're not going to be able to find much out of pack 3, but I'm not going to concern myself with that too much, or be worried about it, I should say. So getting the Final Reward here is going to be a nice pickup, very nice pickup for us. Put this in the 2-drop slot, this as well, and these 3 things. Okay. Let's take the second Final Reward over Soul Stinger and Splendid Agony. So this is definitely looking like a 17-land deck. Another Final Reward. I think we'll go deep. I'm okay with that. So we're going to need some low curve stuff to get us to this Final Rewards, you know, to get us to the Final Reward. Jeez, all the Final Rewards. Illusory, I mean, it is better than... It's good. It's okay to have a bunch of final rewards if you can get to that point in the game. It's really nice to have all of this, but if you're getting beaten down early, it's too clunky. But we're gonna try it anyway. So now we can take Splendid Agony. This is certain matchups where this card's just phenomenal. So we're gonna take it over River Serpent here, even though that card has good synergy in our deck too. So Painful Lesson is some card advantage. I guess I probably take it over Slitherblade then. Slitherblade is more of a build around beatdown card. Painful Lesson, you can at least kill your opponent with it. Alright, we'll take the Pitiless Vizier over... Well, we could take Naga Oracle. What's the synergy we have with Naga Oracle? We have a Skirmisher. I thought there was another one too. The Initiate. But we have enough cyclers where Vizier might just be better. I guess we don't have a ton of cyclers. Alright, I'll take the Oracle, actually. I think Vizier is quite good, but... Alright, we're taking Evolving Wilds. We can totally play it. So, that was an interesting pack, too. 3 final rewards are kind of the highlight. So, we would like to lower the curve, if at all possible. I guess we can take Stinging Shot. I don't think that's going to happen. Even splashing that seems unlikely. Alright. So, Soul Stinger's a great pickup, though. This card's good. So, we got a Vizier anyway. Alright. So, looking a little bit clunky. But, I think we'll be able to make this come together in pack 3. So, this is where we're going to get some more blue, I anticipate. Which means we just want... I would settle for a bunch of Skirmishers. Just anything low on the curve is going to be good. Well, first pick Skirmisher is unexciting. Let's just take the Seeker over it. Because we have enough non-creature spells now where I think that's going to be really good. So we're taking over Compulsory Rest, Fanbear. Neheb's pretty fun to play. But yeah, we'll take Seeker over Skirmisher. Let's get that curve down. If we do that, we're good. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to start like ditching cards that we probably don't want to end up playing. Throne. So there's a Vizier in here. There's a Grim Strider, but we look clunky enough where I'm not sure Grim Strider is going to be all that good for us. I guess we can take another Vizier. We have double Seeker, so these can be decent blockers and attackers at a certain point. Otherwise, it's like a Miasmic Mummy. I actually do think Grim Strider is pretty good, but look at our curve. We're a little bit too high of a curve right now. We need to lower our curve substantially. So we can take the Mummy. I actually like the Festering Mummy here. It's good with our Plague Belcher, but it also it gunks up the board pretty effectively. If they're rocking a bunch of X1s, or even an X1 and a 2/2, or a 2 toughness creature, it's just really annoying to deal with, so I like it a lot. I like it more than Mummy. This is more for hyper aggro, and we're certainly more of a win through value in the mid to late, which I'm fine with. I think we have some pretty powerful stuff. Archfiend, Lay Claim, and then all the final rewards to get us there. A couple flyers. Okay, I'm on board. I think Compelling Argument can probably go too. Like, it does turn on our cycle stuff, but I don't think it's all that good. There's also a Cartouche of Knowledge in here, but I feel like this isn't quite... That's not quite what our deck wants to do either. We're going to take the Mummy. We're going to get as much... Like, I might just take another Mummy here, depending. It's a late Electrify. All right, yeah, we're going deep on Mummies. Let's ditch this. What else needs to be ditched? Maybe Cancel, but actually probably Painful Lesson. I'd rather rock the Oracle. It's not card advantage like Painful Lesson, but it also doesn't come with a cost. And our deck is clunky enough where I don't think I need to draw cards at the cost of life. I think life is pretty important resource in these games. There's also a Floodwaters in here, but we're going to take the Mummy. We want these like just really cheap dudes. Okay, so there's a third Vizier. There's a Gale Strike. Wow. A Shimmer Scale Drake. So I actually don't think Vizier is all that good. It's okay. It's just probably good because it's cheap and evasive, but 1/3 is actually I've found to be a very poor body in this format. So I could take the Gale Strike, although last time I played this I was less impressed than I thought I would be with it, but it might actually just be the pick. We have enough creatures. The Drake is synergistically good in our deck too. But I feel like we have enough ways to kill now. So I'm not sure that I need the Drake. Whereas Gale Strike at 3 mana might just buy us some time. Okay. So there's an Initiate. We could take a 3rd Seeker of Insight. If I take the Initiate, I'm taking it. I'm cutting maybe Cancel. I actually have to make a cut already, so it might just be Cancel. It might be Pitiless Vizier. I'd rather fly over top. Or I could take yet another Seeker and just keep lowering the curve. We have we have a lot of things that can turn it on now for looting. And actually it's pretty good with Plague Belcher now that I'm thinking about it. Turn 2 Seeker, turn 3 Plague Belcher. Yeah, you end up with a -1/1, but you also have a 5/4 Menace. That's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to take Seeker over the 2nd Avian Initiate. I think some people probably disagree with that, but like I'm saying, I might not even play it, but at this point, I'm not worried about what we're doing in the mid to late. I'm only worried about what we're doing early. I actually really like Supernatural Stamina. I don't think we have a ton of Enter the Battlefield effects, though. We basically have Soul Stinger, Oracle, Plague Belcher. And these are Enter the Battlefield effects you don't want anyway. So, although it's kind of cool with Mummy. Mummy maybe trades with something, dies, put another neg 1 counter on something, and it comes back. Or I could just take another Winds of Rebuke. I'm going to diversify and take this Stamina here. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also don't think the 2nd Winds of Rebuke would happen. Although it maybe could have. Sacred Excavation, I suppose. We're not going to play Cartouche. Probably not playing Excavation either, but we'll take it. We don't care about any of these, I guess. Lay Bare the Heart is at least a good sideboard card. I don't think we're going to play the Mummy. Alright. Illusory Wrappings is actually something we can consider. Okay. So we got ourselves a deck here. I'm going to take the full art land there. Embalmer's Tools, that's cool. Alright, so we have a good deck. I think we actually do have a pretty good deck here. I forgot about Plague Belcher in our deck, so we actually have a good amount of win cons. Archfiend, Plague Belcher, Bone Picker, Avian Initiate, front and back. And those are our main win cons. And the rest of our deck is buying time, getting value, and dealing with most things with final rewards. So we want to get down to 17 lands here if we can. And we are going to play Evolving Wilds. We're not going to play Painted Bluffs. All right. So first, let's sort by... Let's group the creatures separate. So we have 16 creatures. We could technically cut one of our creatures if we wanted. Decision Paralysis is gone. Excavation's gone. I think we'll cut the Cancel. It's more of a sideboard card, especially in this format. Lay Bare the Heart, obviously, sideboard as well. So I may cut the Supernatural Stamina. It's kind of cool with some of the stuff we have, but I'm not sure if it's necessary. Heckma Sentinel might just be the weakest creature in our deck. Or Pitiless Vizier for curve purposes. But I kind of like... Well, we're still going to have to cut some of these, so... Like, I can afford to cut one creature, and then I probably start having to cut some of these spells. Like, probably the Stamina, I guess, at this point seems like the weakest, even though I like it a lot. I kind of like having access to all these more. Now, technically, we could cut 2 creatures. I'd be willing to run 14 creatures if we cut like a... Because we can do a cycle... I guess the thing is, in this deck, with triple Seeker, we really can turn Sentinel and Vizier on most of the time. So maybe it actually makes more sense to get rid of like an Oracle, which just makes your card quality better. But I guess it's also good to toss some -1/-1 counters on, but I don't really know if I care about that. I may just cut the Oracle and probably be okay with that. And then I can cut one more creature. I suppose I like the Vizier more than the Sentinel. I'm not sure on that, actually. Vizier's more clunky, and it does feel like we're going to lose to aggro more often than we're going to lose to mid-range or control. Because I feel like against other mid-range control decks, which, by the way, does not make up much of this format's meta. Plus, you can't, like... Sentinel, sadly, may just be better for our deck. Like, with Sentinel, we can toss counters on it with Soul Stinger and Plague Belcher. You can't do that with Vizier. And it costs an additional mana. Yes, it beats down a little bit better, but I think if you're going to cycle or discard anyway, a 3-4 is close enough to a 4-2 indestructible, defensively at least, where... I mean, a 4-2 indestructible is clearly better in that instance, but I kind of feel like for curve purposes it makes more sense to get rid of the Vizier here. So we do this, 14 creatures, which is like the lowest acceptable number. Oh yeah, I didn't do a cycle discard count, did I? So these 3 count for all of our synergies. Then we have 4. That's it? 5? Geez, we have way less than I thought. Well, I guess at that point, Heckma Sentinel is essentially a... Well, maybe we actually... Okay, I might change my plans then. I might cut the Sentinel and run the Naga Oracle. This way we increase our card quality. And since we're not really doing a... It could also find our removal and stuff too. But since we're not really doing a cycle deck anyway, I actually think these aren't going to be that good. They're going to be a little bit poor, but they're kind of a necessary evil for us. Just a 2-drop creature that we may or may not need. And, I mean, you can always leave them back defensively with a Seeker up and then, you know, Splendid Agony something, pump it when you loot or whatever. Like, we have enough spells turning on our Seekers where I think this is okay. I mean, this deck looks good to me. I don't think it looks great, but it does look good. We can deal with pretty much any creature. And we'll probably just do an even split. I imagine they'll say the same. They do. So, blue-black. Blue-black, not too clunky. Not too clunky. And we have big win cons. And the things that we're staying busy early with that I like the most are probably the Festering Mummies. So I'm glad that we picked them up. I actually think they're pretty valuable for our deck. Beyond just the obvious Plague Belcher, Soul Stinger synergy. I think just having these down on turn 1 is an annoyance for a lot of aggro decks to deal with. And that's all we're super worried about in this format. So I like it, actually. I think this deck is acceptable. Blue-black, mid-game value. We'll see how we do. We'll see you round 1.